Welcome to Kael on Ascended. This fight is long and hard. In phase 1, we fight the mage, warrior, hunter, and paladin one by one in this order. The mage will cast Fireball on highest threat. Each hit gives a damage over time effect that stacks. Additionally, she will cast Blast Nova about every 10 seconds. This knocks you back and also slows. On Ascended, the mage will cast World in Flames. During the cast, ground effects will appear around the whole room. The locations are random. After the cast, which is about 10 seconds, meteors will hit these locations. The damage will be split among players hit, and if the mage dies, the whole spell effect will disappear, including meteors falling down, basically everything. The warrior will go after the closest target to Kael the first time in the fight, but not after. He will follow a player for 15 seconds and then switch to someone else. If you are close, he will most likely one-hit you, but if you're too far away, he will charge to you and one-hit you anyways. On Ascended, he will use Bladestorm. When he uses Bladestorm, he will not switch target, meaning the player he follows before Bladestorm will have to kite him for another 15 seconds. The Bladestorm range is large and hits extremely hard. The hunter hits random players and throw stun grenades. You can move him by walking really fast forward with small steps as a tank. Smashing left and right click on your mouse is recommended. On Ascended, he uses Focus Bursts. This will target one player, act as a debuff, and hit everyone in a cone in front of the boss with the multi-shots. The Paladin attacks highest threat, applies Seal of Vengeance on each hit, which stacks on his target, and he also fears everyone for about every 30 seconds. On Ascended, he will use Blood Leech. This is an AoE life drain ability. After each hit, you get a debuff that increases the damage taken. After the adds die, phase 2 will start. Here you will have 7 weapons. Infinity Blade, the dagger, randomly threat resets and shadow steps to a random player and starts hitting them. Warp Slicer, the sword, hits really hard, but nothing special. Cosmic Infuser, the mace, will heal constantly, and the heal will affect all weapons but itself. Devastation, the two-handed axe, will Bladestorm most of the time. Staff of Disintegration, the staff will cast a damage spell on random players and teleport random players to it sometimes. Phase Shift Bulwark, the shield, has an aura affecting nearby weapons. He will absorb any direct magic damage or effects to himself, including interrupts. He also sometimes wander on his own, not responding to taunt from the player in target before the wandering. If this happens, the other tank has to taunt it, then you taunt it back, and it will act normally again. Netherstrand Longbow, the bow, attacks random players and teleports randomly around. If one of the weapons die, there will be about 20 seconds to phase 3. In phase 3, the adds from phase 1 will respawn, and you will have to fight them all at once. This is the timer for the abilities they use, for anyone specially interested. The mage spawns first, and these times start when the mage spawns. After the adds are dealt with, phase 4 starts. The boss will join the fight. He casts fireballs and auto attacks between them. His auto attacks deal magic damage also, sort of like Flame Tongue. For each fireball he casts, he will increase his cast speed, which at some points lead into an instant Pyroblast. Pyroblast will be cast randomly if he reaches max stacks, so it's hard to predict it. The goal is to interrupt every fireball the boss casts. He casts Pyroblast about every 30 seconds. After Pyroblast, he also casts Mana Shield. This makes him immune to interrupts. It absorbs damage, but can be dispelled. He will cast Flame Strike every 30 seconds. This starts off as 3 visual fire runes on the ground. Then, about 4 seconds later, they will explode, dealing damage in about a 30-yard radius. When they explode, they will leave a permanent fire effect on the ground. If everyone stacks on top of each other, the fire effect will happen on top of each other, basically stacking on top of each other, giving you more room to walk on. A phoenix will spawn afterwards. On birth, it will knock everyone to the nearest wall, but you can stun it to avoid this mechanic. It will pulse fire damage and explode on death as well, and spawn an egg which you can attack. After about 10 seconds, it will revive itself if the egg is still alive. When the boss is at 50% health, phase 5 starts. He will stun everyone for 20 seconds. When you get out, you fight the boss normally until Gravity Collapse. Gravity Collapse pushes everyone up in the air and gives you the ability to fly until you reach the ground. 3 seconds after, a wall of flame spawns from the ground and move upwards with a hole in the middle. The boss casts a chain lightning-like spell that increases damage for each player hit. There is also orbs that follow random players and randomly switch target. These also cast some sort of chain lightning spell effect. After a while, he will cast Dying Sun. The whole group gets teleported to one of the sides of the room. A sun will appear in the middle of the room with an elite and Hydra from Vash fight. The sun will move in the opposite direction. The sun will move to the opposite side of the room and explodes after just a few seconds, which will kill everyone. If someone clicks it before this, it will still explode, but the radius will be drastically reduced. The fight at this stage is about the same as phase 4, but with Gravity Collapse, Dying Star, Elites, and Hydras added to the fight about every minute. That was a lot. Clearly, I wasn't joking at the start. So now, how do we do this?